with my mum getting morning tea. Are we having a good time on a Friday, Lady Wilson? Yeah. Hey, look.
Alright, g'day, my name's Rue. I'm a guitarist here in Nashville, Tennessee. Play downtown, I do some recording, I go on the road, and in general I just really love the guitar and everything about it. I wanted to start this new series, and I've talked about it for a while, called Will It Gig? I often note that people online are making videos about how good gear sounds, and that's really great. But growing up in Australia, you know, I noticed that I'd play the gear once it arrived, and it would sound nothing like the YouTube demo on a gig or at home or through an amp, and as a child I always found that quite confusing. So I wanted to make this series to give some real world working man opinions of gear and how they work. Now I work in a situation where sometimes amps are allowed and sometimes they're not. So often I'm forced to run a modeler. I'm okay with that because I like how they work and I know how to make them work for me. So for the next couple of days, I'm going to do the first in this series, Will It Gig? And I'm going to use this modeling device, the Friedman IR-X. This is a really great piece of kit. It got given to me by my friend Jay over at Matt's Music Center. He just called me up and said, mate, I've got this laying around. Would you like to have a go of it? Now the settings I'm using here are not indicative of how it will be set up live. It'll change venue to venue. But as a general rule, I keep the clean channel on kind of the more edge of breakup thing, so I have a little control through the volume knob, and I use the lead channel sparingly because most music doesn't call for it. But that being said, here is the pedal board I will be running this through. So, Chase Bliss, Analog Man, King of Tone, Brothers AM, Line 6 HH Stomp. It's basically set up for delay, tremolo, which is a memory man or the elephant man, digital delay, which is my longer lead tone thing, and then a chorus here, or sometimes a setup for a graphic EQ. And then I'll be using the Friedman IR-X. Now, tonight I'll be running direct on ears, so any audio here tonight is not necessarily going to be the greatest. It's going to be kind of just what I hear from the stage if I don't have my in-ears in. But tomorrow morning I'll be using it with an FRFR cab, which is the Tone X cab. They sent it to me and I really enjoy it. It's not a plug necessarily, but I think it's the best FRFR cab personally. So, that being said, I'm going to go try this out. Also, it's poorly taped together. There's a Strymon power supply. This is my friend Ren's pedal board. Ren, I promised to get it back to you. You just got to come by the house or I got to come to you, something like that. But haphazardly, I'm starting the series, Will It Gig? The series where I take things on actual gigs and use them and see if they work. Because to me, if it doesn't work in a gig context, it doesn't really work for me. That's how these things work, and that's how this is for me. These things are meant to be usable in a situation where I go and play them live, but also perhaps at home or in the studio. The issue is, as a working musician, is if I buy something, my choice has to be made on the fact that A, I want it, but B, does it apply to the context I work in, and can I justify spending this amount of money on something that I'll be able to use downtown, on the road, gig, or in the studio, etc. As a working man who doesn't have unlimited funds, I have to be able to justify my purchases to myself. So, as though this is not a purchase, all opinions are my own. Friedman's not involved in this. No one who distributes anything is involved in this, and no one who works for the company is involved with this. This was a gift from my friend Jay at Matt's Music Center, and I'm going to go do it. Now, last thing, just to let you know, I have uploaded my own IRs into this. I'm using an EVM 12L cab IR from ML Sound Labs, and then I'm using a greenback from a 4x12 IR that I found for free online. I think they both sound really fantastic, and I think it works really good. So, on to one of two gigs. I'm playing at Lainey Wilson's 10 to Close with Nathan Wilson, Cam Taylor, and Jake Bostic. And then in the morning, I'll be playing with Dallas Jacobus, Lake and Yuri, Danny Iskro, and Cam Smith. So 2 Cam drummers in a row. I'll be playing till about 2 a.m. tonight, and I'll start at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. See you at the gig.
Here we are at Lainey Wilson. Jake, Cam, Here's the setup. The standing pad. If you're standing in one spot for 4 hours, you're not moving around. Sit and relax. Hell yeah, dude. So, and of course, I am teaching Beast, the workhorse, #1 baby.
can hear anything during this gig. I don't know if you can even hear me now, but I'm going to have some fun and play and see what happens. G'day, welcome back to Will at Gig, the only show where we do stuff on the gig. That's reminiscent of Gear Chat, hosted by Mizlik, for all your gear answers and needs. So we're like these metal dudes who would review stuff. 2008 YouTube. I don't know if anyone else does, but I have this crazy nostalgia for that era of the internet. It was really cool. Like, you'd find a website and be like, oh, gotta show my friends, like, this is crazy. And GeoCities and stuff was still huge, and I learned to code then. Yeah, oh, it was really fun. Anyway, some first gig impressions with the Friedman IR. The feel is unreal. I guess having two tubes there, like, it makes that little bit of a difference, but that 5% is the 5% I want personally. It handles modulation a little differently to other direct boxes I've used, in that I had to turn the mix on my delay down a little more than usual, but it handled and made my tremolo feel better than I've ever had in a direct solution. Unreal. So today I'm going to gig it with the Tone X 1x12, which should be good, as used by Pat Metheny. Yeah, and that'll be great. Now, I usually just run the first channel, kind of edge a breakup deal, and then the second channel, my lead channel, I use sparingly, or if we're doing a heavy song. We didn't really do any of those last night. So, yeah, we'll see what happens today. What I do appreciate is the immediacy of the device. I don't have to menu dive, and I don't have to dig in. If I wanted a little more mids, honestly, I could use my my foot and reach down and just kind of bump it up a bit. That's really handy, because oftentimes I find once you get to the venue, depending on the sound person and their attitude on the day, depending on what you got, you are at the mercy of them always. So you're always kind of weighing up, like, they might cut off too much lows or highs or bump your mids or do something. So it's like, oh, well, I spent all this time making this beautiful sound for what? So I appreciate having the immediacy of just turn the knob. Now, if you use MIDI, you can get presets out of this stuff, but I am not using MIDI in this case. So anyway, I'm gonna go and set up and do the thing, and we'll see what happens then. If I have who I'm thinking I'm gonna have for sound, I'm gonna mic it, and I'm gonna run an XLR out the back, which is always a good little time. And I'll run a wedge and ears. It's like the best setup of all time. It's the dream come true, isn't it? And I can blend the mics myself in my monitor. I can blend them in my ears, and beautiful, innit? All right, I'm gonna go set up for my gig. I'll see you in a sec.
Some final thoughts on Friedman, but I got bills. Going home to my wife, gonna hang out, practice a bit. Got a couple tunes to learn, and then I'm gonna go play 6 to 10. So, also I like the car because I have the mic here, so the audio usually turns out good and the lighting's nice and stuff. When I get home, I want to separate myself for a couple hours. Now I'm gonna practice, but I want to turn off my phone and just dive in. Using the Tonex cap, once I got it sorted, was perfect. You know, I find with the Tonex cap, the only thing I have to do to get what's in my ears to sound like what's coming through the cap is usually just backing off the bass a little. Now it has like an amp feel knob. I just put that right up. Everything else is right up, but the bass is probably at 3.5. License plate Anglesey. I don't know. Angeles. But look, it felt fantastic. We had an SM57 on it, then an XL out the back. Hunter Manet on sound. My favorite, he said it sounded really good because I was giving him a good amount of air, but also like he could put it in the mix out front of house, and he really enjoyed that. He said it cut through and it sounded really great. Now, if you're looking for a Marshall-y style solution, but like a Friedman, if you know Friedman amps well, which personally I actually don't, apart from digital solutions, but this is my introduction to Friedman stuff. I'm really pleased with this being an introduction to Friedman amps. This is like, for you, this is great. You know, I was able to get great cleans, the lead tone worked well. Now, admittedly, I turned the Tonex a bit up at the end of the gig just because I could, so you'll hear that audio a bit better. I didn't play my best this morning, but also late night into early morning playing doesn't always work out the greatest sometimes. So, look, that being said, I had a really great time. Will it gig? Yes, it will. And honestly, it's a fantastic solution at the end of your pedal board or in the middle or wherever you want, if that's your thing. If you are looking for a great lead tone or perhaps a heavier thing, so you're playing in a rock band or something, you want like a clean or like a kind of edge breaker slash, it gets it kind of into like low crunch territory if you push it right. And then like a good lead channel, this is something that would be great. You know, another thing is, you can put this just in your guitar case. Like, you could totally fit this in the pocket or something and then just have it. It'll always be there, right? That's such a good idea. But seriously, the Friedman IR-X is fantastic. I'm really stoked I got to try it. I want to thank Jay for sending it to me, man. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. And I visited Matt's Music Center many moons ago before he owned it when he was just an employee. So it's kind of a funny thing, like,
round trip, you know what I mean? Funny how the world circles back, isn't it? Some thoughts. Final thoughts. I think changing the IR was a good thing. On clean channels, I really do prefer a Thiel style cabinet with an EVM 12L in it. That's my favorite. Greenbacks on the lead channel is usually my favorite. I found the mid control to be more interesting through the Tonex cab, in that I actually ended up upping the bass to 6, just above 6, and then leaving the other controls at 5. Now I don't have access to the present control because I'm not plugged into my computer, but normally I would have access to that, and usually I turn it pretty much kind of 1 or 2 at most. I think the Friedman IR is a really great solution for, as I said, someone who maybe plays in a rock band does this, but also practicing at home, silent recording, anything. The feel of it is the primary thing. It feels really, really, really good in my ears, through the monitor, and through the amp. And, you know, it's my hands that are determining if it feels good ultimately for me. And I feel comfortable playing it. There's not a jarring sensation like, oh, I'm running direct and stuff, because sometimes that can happen, right? It's really interesting to note that as digital and direct solutions become so much more prominent, we find ourselves still harkening back to tubes, and it's really great that this has tubes in it. It's very robust, does a thing. Often my favorite overdrives are tube overdrives. Real Tube 901, baby, favorite ever. Or the Zen Drive. The Zen Drive 2, wonder if one of those will ever appear at my doorstep. That would be cool. I wouldn't complain, right? So look, the Friedman IR-X, a fantastic device, a fantastic piece of kit. Will it gig? Hell yeah, it'll gig. Will it sort you out in the gig? Yes, it will. If you had that plus an HX Stomp, like, you realistically could do so much. Like, it's silly. I'm hoping in future to try some more digital solutions and provide some more will it gig scenarios. You know, I think that'd be really fun to try different things and see, will they gig? Do they work on the gig? Because I'm always going to be playing with different people, trying different things. So I'm always going to have a different contextual experience and go for it. So look, I am going to go eat my lunch with the missus, and then I am going to practice a bit, and then I'm going to go do my next gig. So I hope everyone has a fantastic day. It is Saturday. It's bloody gorgeous out here in Nashville. Oh, my favorite. I don't know what the temp is, but it's very, 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 very nice. So cheers, everyone. I hope everyone has a great day. I hope if you've used a Friedman or kind of like pedal solution that isn't necessarily kind of like Tonex or any of that, like maybe the Tone King stuff or the Friedman stuff, or I'm sure there's other, I think Blue Guitar does a kind of pedal thing. If you've ever used a pedal style direct modeling device, I'd love to know what it is and what you thought of it, context you used it maybe, and how it worked for you. The UA stuff, all that. Very curious. All right. Cheers, everyone.